Close your eyes and imagine a story you've known since childhood. A story told at bedtime, whispered by parents, printed in colorful books. A tale so simple it feels eternal. A poor boy, a handful of beans, a stalk that climbs into the heavens, and a giant waiting above the clouds. Most of us think of Jack and the Beanstalk as nothing more than a fairy tale, light-hearted, playful, a clever boy, a scary giant, magical beans that change everything. We smile, we turn the page, and we never question what lies beneath. But what if we've been wrong? What if Jack's story, this innocent children's tale, was never meant to be just a story? What if its roots stretch back not hundreds, but thousands of years, back to a time before books, before kings and kingdoms, even before the first written word? What if this tale is not a bedtime fantasy, but a memory 5,000 years old, passed from voice to voice, generation to generation, across cultures that never met, across lands divided by oceans, yet bound by the same symbols, the same fears, the same dreams? Human beings are storytellers. Before we built cities, before we carved words into stone, we sat in the glow of fire and we told stories. And those stories were not just for amusement. They carried warnings, they explained mysteries, they connected us to forces greater than ourselves. They were our first maps of reality, drawn not on paper, but in imagination. And today, scholars believe something astonishing. Many fairy tales we think of as European, like Jack and the Beanstalk, may be 5,000 years old, older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, older than history itself. Think about that for a moment. The same story you once heard as a child told softly before sleep may be the echo of a tale whispered by people who lived in huts of mud and straw, who hunted with stone-tipped spears, who looked up at a sky they did not understand. And in that sky, they imagined ladders. They imagined trees that touched the heavens. They imagined giants powerful, terrible, who hoarded treasure, knowledge, and secrets beyond human reach. Why? Why do we find this pattern again and again? The ladder to heaven, the great world tree, the giants who guard forbidden treasure. From Mesopotamia to the Hebrew Bible, to Norse mythology, to Celtic folklore, again and again, the same story returns. Is it coincidence? Or is it memory? A memory so old, so deep, that it survived the fall of empires, the loss of languages, the passing of entire civilizations, a memory that hides inside a children's tale waiting to be rediscovered. Over the next 2 hours, we'll climb Jack's Beanstalk together. We'll follow it down through time, past the printed page, past the storytellers of medieval villages, past the druids and poets and priests, until we reach the very soil from which this tale first grew. We'll meet the giants of myth, titans, Fomorians, Nephilim, monsters older than history. We'll explore the trees and ladders that bridge heaven and earth, symbols carved into humanity's collective imagination. We'll trace the beans, small seeds of life, resurrection, and magic that appear in rituals from Egypt to Ireland. And we'll ask the question few dare to ask. Was Jack and the Beanstalk simply a story, or was it a code and echo of humanity's oldest struggle, etched into myth, preserved for millennia? Because in the end, Jack and the Beanstalk is not just about beans, not just about giants, not just about a boy climbing higher than he should. It's about us. It's about the weak against the strong, the dreamers who dare to climb. The restless need to reach beyond what we're told is possible. To understand Jack is to understand humanity itself, our fears, our defiance, our hunger for the sky. So tonight, we begin not with beans, not with giants, but with the oldest question of all: where do our stories come from? Why do they repeat across time, across space, across cultures that never met? And what do they still have to teach us in an age that believes it no longer needs myths? This is not just Jack's story. This is our story. A story 5,000 years in the making. Welcome to the year-old secret behind Jack and the Beanstalk. We begin with the version we all know. Jack and the Beanstalk, a poor widow, a son, and a cow, their last possession, their last hope for survival. Jack is sent to market to sell the cow, But instead of silver, instead of food, he comes back with something ridiculous. Beans. His mother, desperate, furious, throws them out the window. And yet by morning the beans have sprouted, not just into plants, but into a towering stalk that pierces the clouds. Jack climbs, and above the clouds he finds a land of wonders. A castle, a giant, treasures gold coins, a singing harp, a hen that lays golden eggs. Each time Jack climbs, he steals something. Each time, the giant wakes. Fee-fi-fo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. The words boom across centuries. They send a shiver down spines, even today. Jack escapes barely, and finally, with the giant in pursuit, he chops down the beanstalk. The stalk crashes to the ground. The giant falls, and Jack, the poor boy, becomes rich beyond measure. That is the story we were told. The story that fills children's books. The story Disney has animated, authors have retold, and millions have repeated. But even within this simple fairy tale, the symbols scream to be noticed. A ladder to the sky, a giant guarding treasure, a boy who dares to steal from the powerful. These are not children's images. These are mythic images, archetypes that reach into the oldest layers of human imagination. Let's slow down. Let's look at each piece. The beans. They are small. They are worthless. Jack is mocked for trading a cow for beans. And yet, in the story, they hold the greatest power. Seeds, in nearly every culture, represent life itself, the ability to grow something from nothing. Death and rebirth, a hidden miracle inside a tiny shell. To the modern listener, they are just beans. But to ancient people, seeds were sacred. They were survival. They were magic. The beanstalk. It grows overnight. It bridges earth and heaven. It carries Jack into a realm beyond human reach. Across mythologies, the world tree, the axis that connects underworld, earth, and sky, is everywhere. The Norse called it Yggdrasil, the great ash tree that held 9 realms. The Mayans told of the saber tree, linking the world of men to the heavens above and the roots below. In Mesopotamia, stairways to heaven were carved into ziggurats, artificial mountains that imitated the tree of life. And here, in Jack's story, we see it again. A stalk that grows in one night, reaching into the clouds. Coincidence or memory? The giant. He is terrifying, enormous, hungry. He smells human blood. In myth after myth, giants appear as ancient beings, powerful, brutal, often opposed to humanity. The Greek Titans, the Irish Fomorians, the biblical Nephilim. Why, across so many cultures, do we invent beings larger than ourselves, creatures that hoard treasures, guard secrets, and look down on mankind as prey? Perhaps because we once felt small. Perhaps because, compared to the forces of nature, storms, mountains, earthquakes, we were small. The giant is more than a character. He is a symbol of power, an enemy greater than human scale. The treasures. A hen that lays golden eggs. A harp that sings by itself. Endless gold. These are not random details. They are symbols of wealth, fertility, and divine music, the gifts of the gods. In ancient myths, heroes often steal such treasures from supernatural beings. Prometheus stole fire from Zeus. Cuchulainn stole cattle from giants. The pattern repeats. Jack, too, is a thief not from men, but from something greater, something other. The ending. Jack cuts down the beanstalk. The giant falls. The boy wins. It seems like justice. But notice the ambiguity. Jack is not noble. He is not generous. He is clever, yes, but also deceitful. He robs. He kills. He claims wealth that was never his. So is he a hero, or is he a trickster, like Loki, like Coyote, like Anansi who survives by wit, not by honor? Fairy tales often carry hidden warnings, but here, the message is mixed. Children are told, Jack is the hero, but beneath the surface, the story whispers something else. Power does not belong to those who deserve it, but to those bold enough to take it. So here we stand. At the edge of the story we thought we knew, but already we see it is not simple. Already, the beans, the stalk, the giant, the treasure, all point to something deeper. This is not a fairy tale. This is an echo of myths told by people who lived thousands of years before Jack ever had a name. In the next chapter, we will travel back, far back, to the world of the Sumerians and Babylonians, to the myths of ladders and towers and world trees, and we will ask, could Jack's story be 5,000 years old? And if so, what did it mean to the people who first told it? To understand Jack's beanstalk, we must climb down, not up, down into the soil of time, into the roots of humanity's oldest stories. Because long before Jack had a name, long before the word England existed, long before fairy tales were written in books for children, there were myths. And in those myths we find the first seeds of Jack's story. Let's travel back, not hundreds of years, not even thousands, but 5,000 years, to the cradle of civilization, to Mesopotamia, Sumer, Babylon. The world's first cities rose here, between the Tigris and Euphrates, and with them its first myths. The tower and the ladder, the Sumerians, the Akkadians, the Babylonians, these people told stories of a stairway to heaven. Not a stalk, not a tree, but a ziggurat, a giant, stepped pyramid of stone. These temples were not just places of worship. They were symbols of a bridge, a way for humans to reach the gods above. The most famous echo comes from the Hebrew Bible, the Tower of Babel. A people unite. They build a tower, stone upon stone, to reach the heavens. But the divine powers strike it down. Do you see the pattern? A ladder, a tower, a stalk. Always humans trying to climb higher than they are allowed. Always forces above waiting to punish them. Jack climbs. He steals. He angers the giant. And only by cutting the stalk does he survive. The world tree. Travel north, into the cold mists of Scandinavia. The Norse tell of Yggdrasil, the ash tree that holds all 9 realms. Its roots stretch deep into the underworld. Its trunk rises through the world of men. Its branches reach into the heavens, where gods dwell. At its base lurks a serpent. Across its branches run messengers. Upon it battles rage between giants and gods. Yggdrasil is not a fairy tale, it is the very map of the universe. And it is 5,000 years older than Jack's stalk. The tree in the east. In India, ancient texts tell of the Ashvatha tree, a sacred fig whose roots grow upward, reaching into the sky. The Vedas call it immortal, eternal, the cosmic tree. In its branches live the gods. In its shade, humanity finds meaning. China, too, whispers the same symbol. The Fusang tree, a mulberry of the eastern sea, where the sun rises. A ladder for shamans, a path for spirits. Different lands, different tongues, yet always the same image. A tree, a bridge, a path between earth and sky. The giants of old. And then there are the giants. In Greece, they are the Titans. In Ireland, the Fomorians. In the Hebrew Bible, the Nephilim. Ancient beings, huge, dangerous, older than mankind. They guard treasures. They hoard secrets. They threaten humanity, yet they fascinate us. In one Babylonian myth, the giant Humbaba guards the cedar forest. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest story ever written, heroes must slay him to steal the wood. Sound familiar? A boy, a giant, a theft of treasure, a fight for survival. The story echoes, again and again. The forbidden treasure. Across myth, humans climb, steal, and escape. Prometheus climbs to Olympus and steals fire from the gods. Gilgamesh slays Humbaba and takes the cedars. Ku Chulain raids cattle guarded by supernatural foes. Jack climbs the stalk. He steals the hen, the harp, the gold. He slays the giant by cutting the bridge between worlds. It is the same rhythm, the same melody played on different instruments across millennia. But here is the question: how? How can cultures separated by oceans, by centuries, by language, tell the same story? Is it coincidence? Or is it something deeper? Some scholars say these are archetypes, images born from the human mind itself. Carl Jung called them the collective unconscious, symbols that rise again and again because they are wired into us. The tree, the ladder, the giant, the treasure. Others say it is history, that once long ago our ancestors shared one great tale, a tale told around fires in the Stone Age, a tale carried by migrating tribes across continents, a tale so powerful it survived 5,000 years. Pause. Think about that. When Jack climbs the beanstalk in your imagination, you are hearing the same heartbeat as an ancient Sumerian who told of ziggurats to the gods, the same echo as a Norse skald describing Yggdrasil, the same dream as a shaman in India chanting of the Ashvatha tree. Jack's story is not just English. It is not just European. It is human. And so, when we tell Jack and the Beanstalk to our children today, we are not only passing along a fairy tale, we are passing along a fragment of humanity's oldest myth. The stalk is a bridge. The giant is power. The treasure is knowledge. And Jack the boy is us. But myths are not only echoes, they are also warnings. In Mesopotamia, the gods destroyed the Tower of Babel because men climbed too high. In Norse myth, giants wage endless war against the gods. In the Bible, the Nephilim are destroyed by the flood. Always when man climbs too high, something falls. And in Jack's story, the stalk itself crashes down. The bridge is destroyed. The giant dies. And the message lingers. To reach too high is to risk everything. So, what is Jack's tale? Is it a children's story? Or is it the oldest warning humanity has ever told itself? In the next chapter, we will look deeper into the meaning of the stalk itself, not just as a bridge, but as a cosmic symbol, life, death, rebirth, the axis of the universe. The beanstalk is more than a plant. It is a doorway, and to step through it is to uncover the hidden architecture of myth itself. Close your eyes and picture the stalk. It's not just a plant. It's not just a green vine curling toward the clouds. The beanstalk is a ladder, a bridge between worlds, a path forbidden to mortals, yet irresistible to us. The archetype of the ladder. Across human history, the symbol of a ladder to the sky keeps appearing. The Sumerians raised ziggurat stairways for priests to climb into heaven. The Hebrews dreamed of Jacob's ladder, angels ascending and descending between earth and God. The Mayans carved pyramids whose steps led into the firmament. Shamans everywhere from Siberia to Africa speak of climbing spirit ladders in trance. Why? Because humanity has always longed to rise, to escape the weight of earth, to reach the fire of heaven. Jack's beanstalk is not a vegetable, it is this ancient dream made green. Two worlds, one bridge. The stalk divides reality, below the human world. Above the realm of giants, riches, dangers, and divine fire. And in between, a fragile path, swaying in the wind, connecting two realms that should never meet. Climbing it is defiance. It is trespass. It is hope. The beanstalk says, you can cross the boundary, but you may not come back the same. The axis of the universe. In myth, the ladder is more than wood, more than stone. It is the axis mundi, the world axis, the line that connects heaven, earth, and the underworld. Every culture has drawn it. The Norse with Yggdrasil, the Hindus with Mount Meru, the Buddhists with the Bodhi tree, the Christians with the cross vertical and horizontal, a cosmic meeting point. Jack's stalk is a peasant's version of the same cosmic pillar, a child's glimpse of the axis of the world, not carved in stone, not sung by priests, but sprouted from beans. The danger of ascent. But climbing is always perilous. In myths, those who ascend rarely return unchanged. Moses climbs Sinai, and lightning scorches the mountaintop. Shamans climb the drum ladder and risk madness or death if they falter. The Tower of Babel falls, and language itself fractures. Jack climbs. He finds gold, yes, but he also finds terror, pursuit, and a giant's wrath. The ladder gives, but it also takes. The child as climber. Why is it always a boy? Why Jack? Why not a king, a priest, a hero? Because the beanstalk is not meant for the mighty. It is meant for the small, the weak, the poor. Children climb. The innocent dare. Because only the powerless risk everything to overturn fate. Jack climbs for hunger, for survival, for curiosity. And by climbing, he achieves what warriors and kings cannot. This is why the story survives. It whispers, even the smallest among us can climb the greatest ladder. The price of climbing. But the stalk demands payment. The ladder is never free. The giant falls. The bridge collapses. The way between worlds is cut forever. Jack gains wealth but loses the path. He has crossed once, twice, thrice, but no more. The ladder dies, because mortals are not meant to walk it forever. This is the deep sorrow behind the fairy tale. We climb, we reach, we steal, and then the bridge burns. Psychological reading. Modern psychologists see the stalk as more than myth. It is the child's dream of growing up, stretching upward, away from the earthbound parents. It is the symbol of ambition climbing beyond one station. It is the representation of spiritual longing, the ascent of the soul. But it also carries the warning. Ambition awakens giants. The higher you climb, the harder you may fall. Echoes in other tales. Jack's stalk has many cousins. Rapunzel's tower, another vertical climb, another forbidden ascent. The bean ladder in Native American tales tribes speak of vines stretching to the sky, cut to trap tricksters. The Pueblo peoples speak of the first humans climbing out of the underworld on a reed. Always, the stalk is there. Sometimes plant, sometimes stone, sometimes rope, mountain, or flame. But always it is the ladder. The final meaning. The stalk is not just Jack's, it is humanity's. We have always planted seeds, watched them grow, and wondered, how high can they go? The stalk is our curiosity, our ambition, our rebellion, our hope. To climb it is to be human. To cut it is to survive. To tell its story is to remember the line we are always tempted to cross. So the next time you hear Jack and the beanstalk, do not imagine only beans and giants. See instead a child standing at the bottom of the world's oldest ladder, looking up and deciding whether to climb. Because that is not just Jack's choice. It is ours. Listen closely. For every tale of ascent, for every ladder to heaven, there is always a guardian, a being at the threshold, a force that whispers, you may climb, but you may not pass. In Jack's story, that force has a face, the face of the giant. The first glimpse. Fee fi fo fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. The words are thunder. The steps shake the ground. The very air trembles. To a child, the giant is simply terror, a monster of meat and bone, stronger than any man, devourer of human flesh. But to an older ear, to a searching mind, the giant is far more. He is not just an enemy. He is a guardian. The guardian archetype. Every culture imagines such beings. Monsters at gates, titans at mountain passes, dragons coiled around treasure, serpents at rivers of death. Why? Because the human soul knows. Between one world and another, there must be a price. Between the mortal and the divine, there must be a test. The giant is Jack's test, not merely to steal gold, but to prove himself worthy or foolish of crossing the boundary. The ancient roots of giants. Where do these beings come from? Look to the Greeks, the Titans, vast children of earth who once ruled before the gods. Look to the Bible, the Nephilim, giants in the earth, offspring of angels and mortals, destroyed in the flood. Look to Norse myth, the Jotnar, primal beings older than the gods themselves, chaotic forces of ice and fire. Giants are never just big men. They are remnants of an earlier age, an age before order. They are living fossils of chaos. They are the guardians of what humanity is not yet ready to hold. The devourer of flesh. Why does Jack's giant smell blood? Why does he hunger for human flesh? Because he is the opposite of man. Where humans cultivate, he consumes. Where humans build, he crushes. Where humans share, he devours. To steal from him is not just theft, it is survival. It is the mortal reclaiming life from the jaws of chaos. And yet, behind the terror, one must ask, was the giant ever meant to be a villain? Or was he simply protecting what mortals should never touch? The castle in the clouds. The giant's home is no hut. It is a castle above the world. Golden harps, hens that lay eggs of pure light, tables of plenty. He lives in abundance, excess, almost godlike splendor. And here lies the paradox. The monster is not starving, he is overflowing. Yet he still consumes. This is the danger of power unchecked. This is the warning of wealth without mercy. The giant is gluttony incarnate, but he is also the shadow of gods, enjoying treasures once meant for the divine. The role of the giant. In myth, the guardian never exists for himself. He exists for the hero. Cerberus guards Hades until Orpheus dares to sing. The Sphinx devours men until Oedipus dares to answer. The dragon slumbers on gold until Siegfried dares to strike. And Jack? He must face the giant. Not to kill him in battle, not to duel with sword and shield, but to outwit him, to slip past him, to survive him. The giant is not conquered by strength. He is conquered by cunning, and that is why he fears Jack, the trickster and the guardian. Jack is the trickster child, the fool who wins by cleverness, not power. The giant is the immovable obstacle, the wall of flesh, the storm of rage. This duel is as old as time. The clever mouse against the lion, the sly fox against the hound, the mortal mind against the immortal brute. It is a reminder. Humanity survives not by brawn, but by wit. The giant is our test, and trickery is our tool. The giant as shadow friend. Yet look deeper. The giant is not separate from Jack. He is Jack's shadow, the dark reflection of what Jack himself could become if he let greed consume him. Think of it. Jack steals gold, food, magical treasures. He risks his life, again and again, for more. How different is he, really, from the giant? Perhaps the giant is not only a guardian, perhaps he is a warning. Become careful, Jack, or you will become me. The final pursuit. And then the climax. The giant, enraged, descends the stalk. The earth shakes. The boy runs. The axe swings. The bridge collapses. The guardian falls. The way is shut. But ask yourself, was the giant truly defeated? Or did Jack only sever the bond between worlds, leaving the guardian where he belonged? In the realm of myth, in the clouds, in memory, the hidden meaning. Instead, the giant is not just an ogre in a fairy tale. He is the eternal guardian, the shadow of mankind, the test before the threshold. Whenever humanity climbs too high, whenever we steal fire, whenever we reach beyond our grasp, a giant appears. Sometimes a monster, sometimes a storm, sometimes our own reflection. The question is never whether the giant exists. The question is, do we dare face him? And if we do, will we remain human? So next time you hear that thundering chant, fee fee fo fum, do not shiver only with fear, recognize the voice for what it is, the warning at the threshold, the guardian of forbidden fire, the echo of an older world. And remember, without giants to guard the path, there would be no tales worth telling. The treasures of the giant, symbols of power beyond time. Close your eyes. Imagine stepping into the giant's castle above the clouds. The air is heavy with the smell of roasted meat, echoing footsteps, the creak of doors larger than houses, and then your eyes fall upon it. The treasures, objects that should not exist in human hands. Objects older than kings, older than kingdoms, older perhaps than humanity itself. Jack does not find coins or jewels. No, the treasures are alive. They breathe. They sing. They shimmer with impossible power. The golden harp that sings. First, the harp. Not carved by mortal hand, not strung by mortal string. Its wood glows with a warmth like eternal sunset. Its strings hum, even when silent, as though they remember songs before the world was made. And when it plays, the music is not entertainment. It is enchantment. It bends the soul, softens rage, awakens sorrow. Why would a giant need such a thing? Because the harp is not for joy. It is for dominion. The one who controls music controls emotion, and the one who controls emotion controls the world. This harp is not just an instrument, it is the voice of creation. In ancient myth, the world itself was sung into being. The harp is a fragment of that primal song. When Jack steals it, he is not simply robbing the giant. He is stealing the music of the cosmos itself. The hen that lays golden eggs. Then comes the hen. Small, ordinary, almost laughable beside the giant's bulk. But when it clucks, and when it lays, the egg is not shell and yolk. It is solid gold. Pure, shining, indestructible. Wealth. Endless wealth. Not mined, not forged, not earned, but born, alive, self-renewing. What is this hen? Truly, perhaps it is life itself. The eternal cycle of birth and rebirth. The promise of fertility, abundance, survival. In Celtic myth, the cauldron never emptied. In Norse tales, the goat Heidrun gave endless mead. In Christian scripture, manna fell from heaven to feed the wandering. The hen is humanity's dream of never hungering again, of a world where creation itself provides. But here is the shadow. Such abundance tempts greed, and greed invites ruin. The hen is not just wealth, it is a test. Will man use it wisely, or hoard until destruction follows? The giant's gold and hidden relics. Beyond harp and hen, some versions whisper of more. Piles of gold that gleam like fallen suns, weapons carved from thunder, chalices that heal the sick, crowns that burn with unearthly fire. Scholars believe these treasures echo real myths. The Grail of Arthur, the lightning of Zeus, the mead of Odin. The giant's castle is not a palace, it is a vault of stolen relics from the dawn of myth. And Jack is not a thief. He is a raider of heaven. The symbolism of theft. Why must Jack steal? Why not earn? Why not trade? Because divine treasures are never given. They are guarded, hidden, tested. The hero must take them, risking life, daring the wrath of gods, reaching beyond what mortals deserve. Prometheus stole fire. Gilgamesh stole wisdom. Jack steals music, life, and gold. It is the same story, told again. The same truth. Humanity grows only by theft from the divine. And every theft comes with a price. The treasures, as blood and breath. Look closer. The harp sings. The hen gives birth. Both are alive. Unlike lifeless gold, these treasures breathe. They remind us that true wealth is not stone or metal, but vitality itself. The harp is soul. The hen is body. Together they form the two halves of life. To hold them is to hold the essence of existence. No wonder the giant guards them. No wonder the risk is mortal. Echoes across time. Why do these objects echo through centuries? Because they are eternal symbols. The harp reappears in Irish legend, in bardic tradition, in the songs that shaped nations. The golden bird appears in Russian tales, in Arabian myths, in Chinese stories of phoenixes laying eggs of flame. These treasures are not inventions of one storyteller. They are fragments of a human memory older than writing. When Jack seizes them, he is part of something vast. The endless human hunger for more beauty, more power, more life. The hidden danger. But here lies the warning. The treasures are not just gifts. They are curses. The harp cries out when Jack steals it, betraying him to the giant. The hen clucks in sorrow, as though unwilling to leave. The gold tempts Jack to return again and again, until his greed nearly kills him. The treasures are alive. but they are not his. They belong to another world, and they resist being torn away. The final meaning. The treasures of the giant's castle are not about wealth. They are about humanity's eternal desire to seize what is beyond reach. They are warnings dressed as wonders. The harp whispers, "Be careful with the music of creation." The hen whispers, "Be careful with the gift of abundance." The gold whispers, "Be careful with desire itself." Jack takes them all. And though he wins, the story calls him clever, brave, victorious. The echo remains. What if he had left them behind? What if the true treasure was not gold or song, but wisdom? So remember, when you hear the harp's first note, when you imagine the glimmer of golden eggs in the dark, you are not hearing fairy tales. You are hearing echoes of mankind's oldest hunger, a hunger that can build civilizations or burn them to the ground. The final confrontation, severing the bridge between heaven and earth. The air is heavy. The beanstalk sways like a living serpent. Above the clouds, the giant roars, his voice cracking across the sky like thunder. Jack clutches the treasures to his chest. The harp wails, its song a cry of betrayal. The hen clucks in panic, as though sensing the end. And from the clouds, the giant descends. Each step shakes the heavens. Each grasp tears the air apart. The earth below quivers in fear. This is no longer a tale of theft. This is a tale of survival. A tale of humanity standing on the razor's edge between annihilation and freedom. The giant's pursuit. The chase is merciless. The giant is not a slow, bumbling fool, as softened stories later tell. He is wrath itself, the rightful guardian of sacred relics, betrayed by a mortal thief. His breath is fire. His eyes blaze with storm. His hands reach for Jack, each finger longer than a man's body. Jack slides down the beanstalk, heart pounding like a drum of war. Every leaf, every tendril whips against his skin. The treasures weigh heavy, but he dares not let them go. The world seems to hold its breath. The moment of decision. On the ground, Jack sees the axe, the tool of earth, the weapon of man. Wood against wood, mortal against immortal. His mother screams for him to hurry. The giant's shadow falls across the field, darkening the earth as though night itself descends. And then, Jack raises the axe. One strike. The beanstalk shudders. 2 strikes. The air splits with a groan, like a mountain cracking. 3 strikes. The beanstalk falls. The fall of the giant. The giant's roar pierces the sky. A cry not just of anger, but of loss. A sound older than kingdoms, older than stars. And then silence. The beanstalk crashes, shaking the earth like an earthquake. Leaves scatter like falling suns. The giant plunges, body broken, dreams shattered, swallowed by the dirt of the mortal world. The bridge is gone. The path to the heavens, severed. The link between gods and men, destroyed forever. What the axe truly means. Why does this moment echo through centuries? Because Jack is not just cutting wood. He is cutting destiny. He is severing mankind's tie to the divine. Once, humanity walked with gods, stole from them, bargained with them, climbed into their realms. But Jack's axe ends it all. From then on, heaven is unreachable. The treasures remain below. But the road back? Forever gone. The message is clear. What humanity takes from the divine, it must keep at great cost. And in taking, it also loses something greater. The connection. Victory or catastrophe. To some, Jack is a hero. He outsmarts a monster, wins treasures for his people, brings prosperity. But to others, Jack is a thief, a breaker of bonds, a destroyer of bridges. His axe kills not only the giant, but the very possibility of communion between heaven and earth. A single act that gives wealth, yet robs eternity. This is the paradox of humanity. Every step forward costs something irretrievable. Every treasure stolen leaves a wound that never heals. The echo in myth. Look across the world's stories, and you will see the same pattern. Prometheus steals fire, humanity gains light, but suffers eternal punishment. Adam and Eve eat the fruit, humanity gains knowledge, but loses Eden. Jack cuts the beanstalk, humanity gains wealth, but loses the sky. The tale is universal. What is taken cannot be returned. And the price of progress is exile from paradise. The end of the story, or the beginning. So Jack stands, axe in hand, treasures beside him, staring at the ruin of the beanstalk. The sky above is empty, silent, unreachable. Is he triumphant? Or is he alone? History forgets his answer, but the echo remains. Every time the story is told, we are forced to ask, was the giant the villain, or the last guardian of a sacred bond? Was Jack the hero, or the thief who cut down the ladder of heaven? The final reflection. Now, lean back, close your eyes, hear the harp's fading song, see the golden egg gleam in the darkness, feel the tremor of the earth where the giant fell, and ask yourself, what is the real treasure of this story? Is it gold? Is it music? Is it life itself? Or is it the warning that every gift comes with a price, and every bridge we burn cannot be rebuilt? Epilogue. The eternal hunger. For 5,000 years, the tale has endured. From ancient myths to modern fairy tales. From campfires to printed books to the screens of today. Because it is not just Jack's story. It is ours. The story of humanity reaching upward, daring, stealing, falling, rising. The beanstalk still grows, in every dream, in every ambition, in every climb toward the impossible. And though the axe may fall, though the bridge may break, we still climb, because that is who we are, the children of earth, the thieves of heaven, forever chasing the treasures hidden in the clouds. Perhaps the beanstalk was never about climbing into the sky. Perhaps it was about seeing how high we dare to reach before the fall.